All right, what's up, PD2 fans? Varric here. This is going to be kind of a quick part 2.1 from the last video I did. As you may have seen if you did watch the video, I kind of only briefly went over the D2GL, and I didn't even talk about the advanced settings in PD2. So I wanted to go over a little more detail and just have a little more information to tell you. Also keep, I think my big old fat head was blocking it, so we're going to put it over there this time. But if you go to the help screen, which again, I don't think I told you last time, but if you press H, that will take you to the help screen. You can see right here, these are your advanced options, the game settings. So first thing, again, we're going to go to the Control O on the keyboard and just go over a couple key points, which I think I already talked to you about. This is just your basic quality preset. You can mess around with it depending on how powerful your computer is, right? Full screen, stuff like that. VSync, I think, just deals with a little bit of FPS stuff. I just keep that checked. I don't think we need to worry about that. Thing in here, I already told you about the color gradings. You can just kind of mess around with how you want the color to be. That one was pretty cool, whatever that was, sort of a off color. I still like 12. And then lastly, feature. This is one that I didn't talk about, but I think it's important to talk about, is the motion prediction. Well, actually, first we'll talk about just the HD stuff. So as you can see in this game, it does have HD text that you're not used to seeing in regular Diablo. I think Diablo 2 Resurrected has the HD text. So, the HD text, the HD cursor, loop filters are HD. So everything's kind of got that nice text that you're probably not used to if you're coming from LOD. But yeah, the last thing is the motion prediction. So this is actually a really cool feature that I didn't go over when I talked about it in the last video. So what this is doing is basically Diablo can only operate on so many frames, right? So each frame, right? If you think of like a you got a flip book and you have each frame of that flip book, it can only operate on so many, it can only turn so many flip books, so many pages at a time, right? So it can only have so many frames per second while you're going through the game, right? So what motion prediction does is each frame, it kind of predicts the motion in between. Say there's a frame here and a frame here. What it's going to do is it's going to predict the motion in between the two frames. It's going to see, okay, he was going this direction, so I'm going to put a frame here, and that just shows the character going that direction, right? So essentially it's smoothing out the details by filling in those gaps that you would have gotten from a limited frame per second. So you can actually see, I'll show you. So you kind of see me moving back and forth. Seems pretty smooth, not too choppy, right? Just each step is pretty consistent with how it should be. But we go in here and we can actually turn that off. So now we have no frame motion prediction. And as you can see, it kind of almost like hurts your eyes to see. It's a lot more choppy, and it does not flow as well as you would have seen, right? So we'll put motion prediction back on. And now it's nice and smooth. So that's a pretty awesome feature of D2GL. So good job. Kudos to those guys for doing that. But otherwise, yeah, I kind of went through all this beforehand. I don't really think there was a whole lot more. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I don't think I have much more to show you. I wouldn't really mess around with this. I don't really know a lot about this. And if you really do feel like you want to learn about it, just ask in the tech support. And I'm sure they can tell you about it. So that's pretty much what I want to show you. Again, you can you can do like your FPS, show your FPS down there, 60, right? But I don't need to show that. Yeah, you mess around with it for fun. All right, then this is the last thing and the main thing I really wanted to show you in this video. Again, this is kind of going to be a shorter video. I just wanted to show you a couple things. But if you hold in Control and hit left click, so Control left click will get you there, and then you can just escape out of it. That was a new feature this season, which is nice. So yeah, pressing escape gets you out of those settings. But yeah, again, kind of self-explanatory. You can kind of just see what it looks like. Show players gear. You can actually inspect other players, which you used to not be able to do in regular D2, which is very nice. So you hover over that player and you just hit 0 on your number pad, or excuse me, on your, the top part, the 0 on the, I don't know, whatever the heck that is, above all your letters on your keyboard. Yeah, it'll actually inspect the person so you can see what they're wearing, which is pretty sweet. Resync, don't really need to worry about that. If your character gets like bugged out or stuck, it kind of just like shifts him a little bit and resynchronizes him. Advanced stat display, I think I already showed you that. You press 8 and you get your advanced stat display. Experience meter, always nice to have. I like putting it on there. Experience meter will actually show how much exp you've lost if you died, so you can actually see it'll say like negative like 9 point something percent, and then once you get your body back it'll be like negative 1% or 1.7 or 2.7 or something, so you can kind of see like where you need to get to catch back up to where you were when you died. So that's kind of nice. Enable screen shake. This is super cool. So like when Diablo spawns in Act 4, you know, he usually does that annoying screen shake, and I think D2GL will do that too in Act 2. So you can actually disable that. If you don't want to see the screen shake and it's just annoying and you want to pick up that item that dropped on the ground and you just can't get it because the stupid screen is shaking, yeah, you can disable that. So I keep it disabled. DPS counter, always super nice. If you want to see what kind of DPS you're doing, it'll, you know, if you're testing builds and stuff, you want to see how strong you are. That's always nice to turn on. Belt status, I believe, is these little dots here. It's also a new feature. So obviously you can see what you're using on your belt when you do that, but you can also see these little, you know, if I had 4 health potions in here, you would see 4 red dots, or mana potions would be 4 blue dots. So that's kind of nice to have. All right, bell of the ball here. The big thing we love to talk about is quick cast. So quick cast is essentially enabling that you can bind spells to your letters, right? To other letters on your keyboard other than left click, right click. Because regular Diablo, all you could do was left click, right click. So it's super nice now. We can do quick cast. So you enable quick cast, and now whenever you go hover over something, you can press the letter and it will bind the skill. I like to keep my bar up, so your skill bar, I like to show it, just so I can see, make sure I have all my abilities, know what I have bound. Buff timers is nice. You can actually see like the timers on your buffs. Yeah, that's pretty much that. I like all that. Good stuff. Interaction. This was already seen in the help screen. So the interactions here, the shortcuts, that's kind of a copy paste from here. So just another place to see it. Auras, you can kind of enable your auras or disable. People will get auras if you get like level 99 or declone. You kill the first top 3, get an aura. You get like a cool aura around your character. I've never got it because I don't try hard enough, but maybe I will one day. So auras, you can turn them on, turn them off. Items, again, mostly self-explanatory. Show item stat ranges. You can actually see what the ranges will be. I don't know if it actually turns off if I do that. Yep, it does. So see that kind of, if you don't like the screen clutter of showing the ranges, you can turn it off. Showing item level. This is just an option if you don't have a loot filter on, which I do. Loot filter, you can enable it. Enable drops, close notifications, stuff, right? It's all that stuff. You don't really have to set that. I've never touched this, but if you're, for whatever reason, your loot filter is not working, you can make sure that's checked. Lastly, this is the thing I think I mentioned in my last video. You can set the strictness of the loot filter. It's going to be depend on the person, on the loot filter that was made, but you can set different strictnesses. Like if you're tired of seeing like all the junk that you don't really care, even if the loot filter is letting it through, you can make it more strict. Kind of just play around with it and see what you like. Lastly, I don't think I've ever touched this. I don't know what this is. Don't even worry about it. So basically, yeah, these 3. But yeah, the big stuff is going to be the motion prediction, is going to be the quick cast, it's going to be the loot filter, you know, some of the stuff with screen shake, all these kind of extra stats you can look at, experience meter, DPS, stuff like that. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Again, I just kind of wanted to fill in a couple more gaps from my last video that I wasn't really able to go over. So that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, again, as always, please ask questions if you have them, leave comments, feedback, feel free to subscribe. Any questions you have or suggestions you have, go ahead and put them in the comments. So that's it. I hope you have a good night. See you later.